How's it going, everyone? TM Trav here with ESO Tips, the place to go for all things Elder Scrolls Online. If you've logged into the game even once, you know that the scale and scope of ESO are absolutely enormous. Because of the huge variety of things that can capture a player's attention, a lot of really helpful features can go unnoticed. Along that same vein, some things that might seem obvious to longtime players may be obscure to those new to the game. So in this video, I'll be pointing out 10 of those features that every ESO player needs to know about. The first element I'll cover is something that I didn't even know existed until a couple of months ago. But before I get started, don't forget to click that subscribe button to keep up with my future ESO content. Also, if you enjoy this video, I would really appreciate it if you'd leave a like to help kick the YouTube algorithm in gear. It'll do wonders for my goal of helping as many ESO players as possible with my content. Now that that's out of the way, let's jump right in. Our first feature is located in the help menu of all places. The devs have put together a huge amount of information in the tutorials area to help new and old players alike learn more about the game. The chapter and DLC sections really just include descriptions of the associated content, but the sections before and after that, like player basics, character progression, combat, battlegrounds, and the like, contain some really helpful tidbits of information about several aspects of ESO. While you won't become a professional PvPer just by reading through the Alliance Warfare section, for example, you will have at least a general understanding of the topic, so I definitely recommend checking the tutorials out, especially if you're new to the game. The second item on our list is really an amalgamation of different settings changes that will help new and veteran players alike get more out of ESO. Up first is the Performance versus Fidelity setting in the video area. This setting appeared back in June 2021 and allows you to swap between high-quality graphics in Fidelity mode, 4K for the Xbox Series X and PlayStation 5, and 1440p for the Series S, and high-speed performance with Performance mode at 60 frames per second. Performance mode results in a bit of a loss to graphics with the visuals coming in at 1080p, but it's well worth the loss in large-scale or complicated content such as Cyrodiil or some dungeons and trials. The audio area really allows you to customize the way you want the game to sound. As you can see, every aspect of the audio can be reduced or increased based on your preference. If you're doing a lot of group content, I highly recommend turning up the player voice option to be louder than everything else so you can easily hear callouts from your group mates. Another little feature that I just recently found out about in this area is the ability to change the intro music to that of previous chapters. I definitely recommend checking out the Elsewhere chapter intro if you're not a fan of the current chapter's music or if you're just looking for something a little different. It slaps. There are just a couple of settings in the gameplay section that I want to highlight, but they're both game changers if you haven't used them before. First, you can change the color of enemy ground effects to really pop out at you, which I've found is super helpful in fast-paced content. I've set mine to bright pink, but you can change yours to any color you like. The other modification I recommend making is switching your ground abilities to Quick Cast. As you can see, when it's set to automatic, you have to press the button twice to cast the ability. Changing this setting will automatically cast your AoEs in the area of your reticle, which really makes combat feel a lot smoother and more intuitive. A quick change I recommend making in your camera settings is your third-person field of view. If you're unaware, you can hold the down button on the D-pad and pull back on the right joystick to expand your third-person view. This camera setting allows you to expand it even further, which is really helpful in all kinds of content. If you're the social type, you can have your text chat display on screen with the HUD chat display setting. Additionally, if you're in multiple guilds, you can change the text color of each guild chat to easily differentiate between them. The last few options I recommend changing are in the combat area. First, we'll look at the attribute and ability bar settings. Typically, the more information you can get in ESO, the better off you'll be. Adding your attribute and ability bars to your display, turning on attribute numbers and percents, and activating front and back bar ability timers will help you keep up with your resources and improve your AoE and dot uptimes. Next, you can turn on combat text to see how much damage you're doing with your abilities. There's something innately satisfying about watching all those numbers pop as you crush your enemies. The final setting I recommend turning on is the buffs and debuffs option. By keeping up with the buffs you're giving yourself and the debuffs you're applying to your enemies, you can really improve your overall damage per second. These options changes are undeniably powerful tools that will help any player get more out of every aspect of ESO. Number 3 on the list is Endeavors. The Endeavor system is a daily reward system that allows players to earn rewards by completing various tasks and objectives. It was introduced with the Waking Flame DLC back in September of 2021. Each day you can complete certain tasks in exchange for a specified quantity of Endeavor currency and a small amount of either gold or experience. These tasks may include activities such as killing monsters, completing quests, crafting items, or using specific abilities. 5 endeavors are available each day, but you can only earn the rewards from 3 of them. Additionally, you can complete one of 3 weekly endeavors that include more extensive requirements and reward greater amounts of the Endeavor currency, but no gold or experience. The Endeavor currency can be used to purchase various rewards from the Endeavor store. These rewards include items from the variety of crown crates currently available in the crown store, such as mounts, skins, non-combat pets, costumes, and more. The Endeavor system is account-wide, meaning that tasks completed by each of your characters count toward each of the daily and weekly endeavors. This reward system is great because you'll basically complete endeavors passively by just playing the game. Although it does take quite a while to amass enough of the currency, endeavors are essentially a way to obtain crown crate rewards for free, so I definitely recommend taking advantage of them as often as possible. For our 4th spot, I've recently heard a few misconceptions about how the player bank works, so I wanted to quickly describe some of the attributes of the bank to hopefully clear up any confusion for newer players. First, your bank is account-wide. All of your characters can access the items you store there from any banker in Tamriel. Additionally, if you don't have ESO Plus and use your bank to store crafting supplies, you can access them on any crafting station in the world without removing them from your bank. Along that same vein, gear stored in your bank can be deconstructed or used for research at any crafting station without removing it from the bank as well. I hope this explanation helps clarify the player bank and its uses for those of you who are new to ESO, but feel free to ask any other questions you might have in the comments. Number 5 on the list is a great tool that isn't directly introduced in regular gameplay and is therefore often missed entirely by new players: the Zone Guide. If you're unfamiliar, the Zone Guide is a feature that provides you with a comprehensive overview of the current zone you're in. It can be accessed on Xbox by pressing Select to go to the map, then holding down the X button. The Zone Guide is really helpful for getting a zone to 100% because it points you in the direction of your next objective, whether that's the remainder of the zone quest, a delve or public dungeon you haven't explored, or a set station or sky shard you haven't discovered. The only thing the Zone Guide can't help you find is the lore books in the zone, but it does give you the name of each book, which is helpful if you need to Google the location or search for it in some other guide like the ESO app, another tool I highly recommend. When you're having trouble finding a location or the next quest giver, be sure to try out the Zone Guide. The 6th item on the list is the continuous attack passive in the assault skill line. I briefly covered this passive in another video, but it's so helpful that I wanted to mention it again here to create as much awareness as possible. Continuous attack provides some PvP based buffs, but those aren't what we're after. What really makes this passive shine is that it provides major gallop at all times, thereby increasing your mount speed by 30%. When you first create your character, you'll probably be able to run faster on foot than on your mount, so this passive is really nice for helping you get to the next part of your adventure a little more quickly. To gain access to continuous attack, you'll first need to reach rank 3 in the assault skill line, and the only way to do so is by participating in PvP activities such as Battlegrounds or Cyrodiil. Even if you're not really into PvP, you'll definitely want to do a few daily BGs to unlock this helpful passive. Speaking of PvP, number 7 is another topic I've seen discussed in several posts over the years: easy ways to leave Cyrodiil and Imperial City. Travel in these PvP zones is different from PvE in that you can't just select a way shrine and travel to it in exchange for gold. In Cyrodiil, transitus shrines are used to move from keep to keep, and in Imperial City there is no fast travel method other than dying, which causes you to lose half of the Telvar you're holding. You can choose where you revive after dying in Cyrodiil, but if you don't want to give the enemy alliance the satisfaction of murdering you to death, then there are a couple of quick and easy ways to leave both of these zones. One option is to queue for whichever campaign you're not in, that is, either Cyrodiil or Imperial City. Then you can either use the way shrine at your alliance's home gate in Cyrodiil, or just walk through the exit door of your alliance's base in Imp City. If the other campaign is full, then another option is to just queue for a random dungeon or Battlegrounds match. After you leave the dungeon or BG, you'll be in the PvE zone you were in before going to Cyrodiil or Imperial City. If you're more of a PvEer who casually PvPs from time to time, I hope this helps you stay safer out in the streets and sewers. For our 8th spot, be sure to take the gear improvement passives in each crafting skill line before upgrading your gear's quality. Each of the blacksmithing, clothing, jewelry crafting, and woodworking skill lines contains a passive in which you can invest up to 3 skill points to reduce the cost of improving your gear. For example, with no skill points in the Resin Expertise passive, it takes 20 rosin to upgrade a woodworking item from Epic to Legendary. After maxing out that passive, only 8 rosin are required for the same upgrade. That's a whopping 60% reduction in the improvement cost. With the high cost of legendary improvement materials, it kills me when I hear about someone who upgraded their gear to gold quality without these passives. So if you only take one piece of advice from this video, please make it this one. Number 9 on the list is Mundus Stones. The boons you gain from these stones are some of the most important buffs in the game, and yet I've met some newer players who weren't even aware that these stones exist. If you're in the same boat, there are 13 Mundus Stones scattered around Tamriel, each of which provides a unique bonus to your character. Some of these boons are more powerful than others, but they're all helpful in some capacity, so I recommend taking the first one you come across and then swapping it out for one of the more useful bonuses when you get the chance. If you're a member of a well-established guild, you might get that chance sooner rather than later, as most fully stocked guild houses will have all 13 stones available for use in one place. As I mentioned before, each Mundus boon is useful in its own right, but as a DPS main, I tend to lean toward the Thief for PvE and the Lover for PvP. Of course, the choice of stone depends on the content and the rest of your build, but these boons will generally serve you well in most damage-dealing applications. No matter what role you play in ESO, make sure you pick up a Mundus boon early on in your adventures. The final topic on our list is how to get access to free or essentially free player homes. Housing is a huge aspect of ESO, so much so that some players make it their #1 focus. If you're the creative type, or if you're like me and just looking for a place to store all the furnishings you pick up through questing and achievements, you can gain access to several houses without spending a dime on crowns or even using your hard-earned gold. Many large cities will have a sign posted somewhere with the quest marker labeled Seeking Tenant. Through completing this short quest, you'll receive a player home in the respective city. Keep in mind that you can only claim one such home per character. Also, you'll still see the Seeking Tenant quest on new characters even if you've claimed that city's home on a different character in the past, so make sure you only do the quest in a city where you don't yet have a house. These homes are typically very small, but they're great starting points for the aspiring designer. If you're looking for something a bit more substantial and you have access to the Elsewhere chapter, you can complete a few achievements to earn the keys to a fairly large house in Rimmon, the Hall of the Lunar Champion. The home has 4 rooms, each of which is unlocked by completing a different achievement or quest. The unofficial Elder Scrolls Pages wiki has a great guide on how to unlock the entire home, so I'll link that page in the description, but let me know in the comments if you'd like me to put together a more in-depth video guide. I'll show you through the rest of the house's rooms now. As I do that though, please just ignore all my clutter. As you can see, this house has plenty of space for any housing aficionado. Be sure to complete the required achievements so you can get your own little slice of Tamriel. So, I know I said that was the last item on the list, but I do have one last bonus tip for new and old players alike. Don't be afraid of veteran content. My advice is to pick up a couple of base game Undaunted pledges, queue into them on Vet with whatever role you're most comfortable playing, and see what it's all about. Of course, there are some challenges you'll probably want to hold off on until you have a good bit of experience, like Vet DLC dungeons, hard modes, trifectas, and things like that, but most of the base game dungeons can easily be completed by a group of CP-160 characters, even on hard mode. If you'd like a breakdown of when you might be ready to advance further into more difficult content, keep an eye out for an upcoming video where I'll describe the essential mechanics you should be aware of, general level recommendations, the mindset you should have going into some of the harder stuff, and other tips about endgame progression in ESO. Alright folks, that's it for this video. There are obviously a ton of other topics I could have included in this list, so let me know down in the comments if I left something out that you consider essential. Shout out to BeastJerry22, the Brew Crew, the Dynasty of Tamriel Guild, and my wonderful wife. I'd also like to thank my subscribers for the continued support. The channel recently hit the 500 subscriber mark, and I couldn't be more grateful. If you haven't subscribed yet, go ahead and click that button to keep up with my future ESO content and to help me reach my next goal of 1,000 subscribers. Finally, if you found this video helpful, don't forget to feed that algorithm with a like. Thanks for watching, and bye for now.